Thank you so much for watching. Now, a little reminder that our Facebook page is where you can go and find 24/7 access to the show, where plenty of people love to give their comments. And I've got to say, we obviously check them during the show. Can I give a specific and very special shout out to a lady called Anne, who just wrote on our Facebook page. Hi, young Paul. Great show again tonight. Sorry, I can't watch till the end. I'm not feeling very well. Well, Anne, thank you for telling us. I love that we're that familiar in your life. Thank you, darling. Get better. We'll see you again tomorrow night. You get a leave pass from the rest of the show. No one else, though. Everyone else, please. Because Holly Hughes is currently in Canberra, Senator from New South Wales, and the Deputy Lord Mayor of Melbourne, Nicholas Reese, is joining us right now from the ever slightly freer city of Melbourne. I mean, you must be excited. Nicholas, that dance studios limited to 10 and the girls have to dance in separate circles, and the knock shops, however, 50 people can be on site at any one time. I mean, we are following the science. That's what I love. We're following the science here.
Look, most of us are just grateful that we don't have to wear face masks when we're walking down the street anymore. That is a great relief. And we can go to the gym again. We can have 2 people around to our home with their dependents as well, don't forget. So, look, these are all, small but significant steps, and, of course, all based on the science of our Chief Health Officer. And we're coming back, Paul. We're coming back.
Dance studios, brothels, that's all I'll say. By the way, in Sydney, second case has now been seen. It is, however, a household contact of the original person who had got coronavirus in the eastern suburbs. That person was a driver who was transporting flight crews, from the airport to hotels. It's the second time that has happened. Of course, it happened late last year. Let's see what happens here. But again, a second case, but it is a person from the house of the original person, and plenty of locations being discussed in and around the east right now. So let's get to this here. China today, interesting where, yet again, we have seen the Western world really bulk up in the past couple of days, Senator, where we have seen everything from the United States to the UK, the G7 countries that have really doubled down and have really backed Australia when it comes to our position about that the world does need to recalibrate a little bit here. The Prime Minister says it's going to take a lot of effort to recalibrate the relationship with China.
Where you have challenges with one trading partner from time to time, then the ability to be able to diversify your trade into more and more countries is incredibly important. And I genuinely appreciate the way that the UK have engaged in this agreement because it reflects an understanding of that. And so this provides more opportunities and greater resilience for Australia's exporters all around the world.
Senator, I think it's been pretty good for the Prime Minister. Normally, I always caution Australian political leaders about getting too excited about the international scene, but the China question is one that is so inextricably important to Australia, culturally and economically. And it seems like the PM's on the right side of this one, and world leaders are with him on it.
Look, it's been great to see the support from the G7, and the UK trade agreement and those discussions around that are just the first step in a real show of trade and economic solidarity from those very close allies of ours, not only the US and the UK, but to hear President Macron today also. But there's a great awareness about security in that Indo-Pacific region, and the fact that as nations that have been long-term friends and allies, showing our strength as we stand by each other is increasingly important, and that can be done both through security and defence, but also through trade and these economic arrangements that followed global trade rules. And I guess that's one of the most important parts here, is that the trading relationships we have need to be based on good trade relations that follow those correct trading rules.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, I like you, somebody who understands the value of things like international students. You understand that certainly a big portion of those coming through China. I think sooner rather than later we are going to have to work out a way to quarantine to get those kids back. But overall, the overexposure of business, it was important to see. When China tried to punish us on barley and on wine, guess who stepped up? The UK. We are starting to diversify, and that has happened very much so in the past 12 months. So even as a person who would never vote for his side of politics, how do you think the PM's gone in the past few days?
Well, look, I certainly think the economic strategy of having a diverse range of customers is a sensible one. It's the old saying our mothers taught us, don't put all your eggs in one basket. But I do find it worrying that it seems every time the Prime Minister gives a major speech these days, he seems to want to use that platform to launch a broadside or a warning to all Australians about China. I mean, Australia is one of the most prosperous countries in the world. Per capita, I think we're close to the richest in the world. And one of the reasons for that is because of the good trading relationship we have with China. And so I think it's a good thing to try and maintain a good relationship with your most important trading partner. That's good for our economic interests, but it's also good for our security interests. And I think, therefore, we should try and exercise a bit of tact, bit of savviness, a bit of, dare I say, a bit of diplomacy in the management of that relationship. Instead of every time we get the platform, we use it to try and warn the world about China and really talk up the fear. And certainly a lot of the Prime Minister's lieutenants are going a lot further than he is. But you've had people like Mike Pizzuto's talking about the drums of war beating. You've had Dutton using the word war. I mean, this sort of inflammatory language, I just think is completely reckless. And I know there's votes in it all, scaring people about China, but I don't think it's in our economic or our security interests to be doing that.
Also interesting to note too, when we're talking about diversifying things, Japan has said, can you please keep digging up the coal? Keep sending it to us because we've got plenty of these power plants. That is a future for Australian coal, Senator. I thought all of that was done, though. I thought we were being told there's no chance, no way that Australian coal will have any markets anywhere.
There's a great future for coal, and certainly the Morrison government is committed to ensuring that we do keep those coal mines operating. We have no interest in closing any of those, but ensuring as well that we secure the jobs of Australians that are working in these industries. The Hunter region in particular in New South Wales has been a powerhouse economically as we push out of COVID, and those jobs in mining in the Hunter region are going to be crucial to ensuring the economic security of not only New South Wales, but ensuring our economic recovery across the country, both in the Hunter region, up in northern Queensland. We want to secure those jobs. We want to make sure that that economic recovery continues. And certainly the Liberal government and the Liberal National government is determined to stand by those workers. I think it's fantastic Japan's come out and said this. We have some of the best coal in the world. And I think not only do we owe it to those export and trade partners, but certainly to those third world countries that would love to have the same living standard as us. We don't hear the left talk about when they want to stop coal mining, when Labor want to walk away from those miners. We don't hear them talk about the standard of living and the boost to standard of living we can provide through ensuring that steady coal that goes into those third world and developing countries to ensure they can have a similar lifestyle to ours.
Hallelujah. Now, I want to talk about something that happened in the Senate. One Nation put forward a motion that got a significant amount of support from government MPs, including a couple of ministers as well. Put simply, that the best approach when it comes to somebody who wishes to flip gender who is a kid is to wait and see if they still want to do it a little later in life. That's the simplification of it. As always, Pauline is welcome on this program, as is Senator Roberts. They're here all the time. You know how big a supporter I am of the crossbench. But Nicholas, as somebody who we've debated this long and hard here, which is not about the existence of transgenderism, no question that that's the case, no ignoring of the tension inside somebody if they think that they're in their wrong body. But certainly my view is that you shouldn't be making life-altering physical changes or giving people the power to do that while simultaneously saying they don't have the power to vote or to be able to have a job. So we've made decisions about responsibility. We have it about criminal responsibility. We have it about franchise. But for some reason, the ability to flip from one gender to the other via medicine, completely out the window. What do you think?
Well, you're right. You and I have debated this over the years, and I think we both agree it is a sensitive issue and it requires calm heads to be brought to it. And I don't think that's what we saw in this One Nation Malcolm Roberts vote that was put to the Parliament, that was a very blunt instrument, which was more about the culture wars than actually trying to help people who do struggle with gender dysphoria, because it is the case that there are medical interventions that can be made that can help people in those situations, and there is plenty of evidence that in many cases that helps to save lives. And yet I think what Senator Roberts was trying to do was more about politics rather than medicine. And it's very disappointing that some Liberals, like Linda Reynolds, decided to vote with it. But thankfully, enough Liberals, including some very prominent ones as well, it should be said, did the right thing and voted against it. And so that One Nation motion was defeated.
Holly, I've only got about 30 seconds. What did you do in the Senate? Which way did you vote?
I didn't vote for it at all, and I'll give you 2 seconds on Senate procedure. There is absolutely no ability to debate these motions. And the way that it was worded, I was very uncomfortable with, because it actually condemned the children. That was actually the wording. It condemns the children. So we had a conscience vote on the issue. It's not up for debate. I think there's merits in the discussion. You and I talked about the age of criminal responsibility and how we levelled that playing field across the board a couple of weeks ago. But I absolutely did not agree with where it was targeted, the way it was put. There was no ability for debate, so I took the option. Some will see it as a cop-out. I just felt it wasn't worth even entering into the conversation because it wasn't available to debate.
Well, enjoy the internet. It is a forgiving place for everyone's nuanced opinion on these things. Thank you so much to you, Senator. Thank you, Nicholas. Do appreciate it. We'll see you all again next week. So let's talk about